The final score: Wrexham 2, Cardiff Met 2. And we've been spoiled to be privileged to watch some fabulous football in the last 2 years, but this was one of the most enjoyable games of them. It was a brilliant end-to-end match. Could have been a lot more goals, and frankly, credit to Cardiff Met for that. They're struggling at the moment. They lost 4-0 at Aberystwyth last weekend, but I tell you what, they showed some real quality against Wrexham, and frankly, Ty deserved to win. I think it was them. Having said that, Wrexham didn't get where they are today without having a lot of resolve, and they dug deep. And like the men's team, they have that belief that they're going to score, and they did indeed pull themselves back, and at the end were pushing for the win. But anyway, Wrexham made some alterations to the side, and no doubt with an eye perhaps on the last 6 games of the season in mind when we take on the other sides in the top four: Cardiff, Swansea, and Aberystwyth. And it meant Ruby Jones getting a first start of the season, which she deserves because she had quite a lot of action last season, has only been able to come off the bench briefly this. And she took that opportunity very well. Wrexham started very strongly. Early as the 4th minute, Amber Lightfoot, who was terrific in the first half, with a great run into the box. She was halted about 10 yards out, and as the ball ricocheted back out, Rosie Hughes, who snapped back into form after injury last Sunday, hit a terrific snapshot on the volley. Great power and strength, really got her laces through it as it came at hip height. And luckily for her, it was central enough for the Cardiff Met keeper Farrell to parry it away rather desperately. Wrexham kept pushing, Lightfoot kept pushing. A great run again into that left channel into the box. This time she got the shot off, but again, not wide of Farrell. But Cardiff Met was starting to show their threat. Bayliss in midfield for them was absolutely outstanding. I mean, the runs she was making, driving through Wrexham, we were finding it so difficult to beat her, to stop her, I beg your pardon. She could beat players, and she had real aggression and strength about her. She made her first foray down the left-hand side and fed the ball in to the goal mouth, having got around the back of the defence. TJ Dickens making an important interception at the near post in the 6-yard box to stop Culbin Thompson from having a tap in. Wrexham, though, got back on top and started to push on ourselves. There was an opportunity for Hughes after an error in midfield by Jenkins, gave her the ball, and typically she turned 25 yards out, drove to the edge of the area, but then pulled the ball quite wide. And as the teams switched off, thinking it had gone out, Cara Jones typically chased, caught it, sent back in a corner, which caused some problems before it was finally cleared. At the other end, though, Culbin Thompson was a good target, holding the ball up well, and again showing good strength, and that strength and persistence nearly led to a goal, getting the ball on the edge of the area, driving into the box. Rosie Jones got a good block on her, but Culbin Thompson managed to tame the rebound and hit in another shot, and Charlotte Bolland, who'd been selected in goal, making a good save low down to her left to deny her. And Wrexham were grateful for that save when we took the lead in the 43rd minute. Really nice goal by Wrexham. Firstly, excellent press. 3 players converging on Jenkins and using the touchline as another player in the press. Jenkins can't go over the line, of course. And we robbed the ball off her. It was picked up by Rosie Hughes, who worked the ball wide to Lightfoot. Lightfoot, brilliant creative play. Just held on to it until Hughes had got to the right point and played an inch perfect pass, perfect weight into Hughes's path. Hughes one-on-one with the keeper, let the ball roll across her, and then finished first time under the unrushing goalie. Lovely finish and a really nicely worked goal. Wrexham a decent value for that at that point, but Cardiff Met shows what they were going to show in the second half, because they immediately had the spirit to fight straight back. And again, it was Bayliss on the charge, running up towards the edge of the area. She fed Priest on the right-hand side, and Priest drove a tempting ball across the 6-yard box, but nobody was able to reach it to tap her in. Second half, Wrexham threatened immediately. Cara Jones driving the ball in from the flank. I'm pretty sure it was a cross. It was a cross, but it was on target, and the goalkeeper, Farrell, had to use her feet quickly to tip the ball away. And that little moment of fortune not going Wrexham's way felt really unfortunate 3 minutes later when Cardiff Met got the equaliser again. It was Bayliss driving on from midfield, riding a couple of tackles as well before feeding it on to Kilburn Thompson, who was able to finish. Wrexham immediately made a change of Libby McKenzie coming off and Brooke Cairns coming on for a debut. And we couldn't stop the tide as Cardiff Met suddenly got a bit of a grip on the match. Malenga feeding the ball into the box, looking for Kilburn Thompson, who'd made a great run, and Bolland again did well, charging off the line, just got there first to save at the striker's feet. Kilburn Thompson involved again moments later, Priest charging down the right-hand side, driving in a cross, which was deflected up in the air and across the face of goal off Katie Sharp. Kilburn Thompson at really close range. She and Bolland both scrambling and stretching for the ball. Neither of them could quite reach it, but the ball was kept alive by Kilburn Thompson, who pulled it back, and Houghton, from just inside the box in the left channel, lashed the ball over. She would not be so wasteful the next time she got the ball in that sort of position. But Wrexham at this point really were getting overrun. Cardiff, I mean, honestly, Cardiff Met, the way they played was admirable. They were working nice little triangles between the trio in midfield and bypassing Wrexham's midfielders. But more crucially, down the flanks, they had Priest on the right and then Houghton on the left, with Malenga coming forward from left back. All three of them very, very quick. And when they burst forwards, when the two on the left combined, it was extremely difficult to defend against. Another example of that coming up when the ball was picked up on the left-hand side soon after that opportunity when the ball went across the face of goal. And on this occasion, it was Lovett coming across, but unable to halt the run of Malenga, who got into the box, pulled the ball back, and Kilburn Thompson, with a chance from about 7 yards out, drove it on target. Big block by Phoebe Davis to deny her a goal. But the pattern of the game was that when one side was on top, the other would be able to fight back, and there were lengthy spells dotted around where one side dominated, and Wrexham hauled themselves back on top of the game again. Lily Jones putting some really strong tackles in midfield, trying to turn the tide, and Wrexham were themselves looking quite sharp down the flanks, trying to feed Lightfoot on the left and Cara Jones on the right. Cairns weighted a beautiful ball from the middle of the pitch to Cara Jones, whose first touch was perfect on the right, allowing her to drive into the right channel just to keep her to beat, but defenders coming back, so she took it just as she entered the box, drove it across the keeper and narrowly wide of the far post. Then oddly, within the space of a minute, two chances which originated from Erin Lovett throws. Firstly, she threw it down the line, Hughes with a lovely little pass inside, and Lily Jones picking her up on the edge of the box, driving a typical shot across the keeper, but just wide of the left-hand post. Then Lovett again finding Cara Jones, who burst past two players, tremendous work, and struck the ball well, but too straight, and Farrow was able to save it. It was time for more changes. So halfway through the second half, Mary Gibbard and Rebecca Pritchard, both who had been rested, were brought on. Gibbard coming on for Sharp, which meant that Lily Jones dropped into the central defensive position, and Pritchard coming on for Cara Jones. But it was Cardiff Met who then got a grip on the game as Wrexham just settled themselves in. Bayliss, again, feeding the ball down the right, Priest bursting down the flank and putting in a nice cross into the goal mouth. Bolland did well to parry it. It dropped loose, and Bolland again very brave to lunge and smother the ball at the feet of Jenkins. Lightfoot did well then, as well as the ball span loose again, just to hold off Kilburn Thompson and stop her from having a shot at goal with the keeper on the floor, and Bolland again leapt on it to end the danger. Then Priest again down the right-hand side, beating Phoebe Davis and driving in a powerful hit from the edge of the box. Good angles by Bolland, who again was decisive coming off the line, and the ball just wide of the far post. However, in the 73rd minute, Cardiff Met got the lead, and what a goal it was, I've got to say. Firstly, ball played forwards for Pritchard, but Malenga got touch tight on her and was able to get a foot to Pritchard's little flick around the corner. The ball ricocheted to Cochrane. She fed it into the edge of the box where Houghton was on the left channel. And oh my word, brilliant zigzagging run. Ricky Villa, FA Cup final, 1981, anyone? Just zigzagged, got past Ruby Jones, got past TJ Jenkins, and then having got it back on her right foot, curled it delicately into the far post. A magnificent goal, goal worthy of winning the match. But to be fair, by now Gibbons and Pritchard had settled into it and they were having an impact. Pritchard was really stretching play and Gibbons was having a good effect on midfield, winning a lot of headers, winning a lot of tackles, and Wrexham came back really well, pushed hard, and got the equaliser in the 81st minute. Love it, with a brilliant interception, stepping into a central position, reading the game well, and nicking the ball back, looping an early ball towards Gibbons, who was the furthest player forwards. Webb, who'd been terrific at centre-back, didn't quite manage to reach it properly and just touched it onto Gibbons, who from that point was magnificent. She got the ball on the edge of the box, flicked it over the head of the player who was touch tight, Jiminovic, and then drove in a volley which took a deflection in front of the keeper and ended up in the net. Wrexham level. At that point, you rather fancied Wrexham would go on and get the winner. We didn't. Cardiff defended well. Wrexham pushed hard. Cardiff had a few moments in the breaks, but there were no more clear opportunities, and a draw, well, I can say a fair result in terms of the admiration you had for both sides and they went for it. But to be fair, I think Cardiff Met probably carved out more chances and were a little unlucky not to get the 3 points. Looking at the individual performances, I tell you what, a lot of it boiled down to duels, which I hope I'll be able to illustrate when we talk through this. But Charlotte Bolland, well, I was really a little annoyed because she got a little bit of stick online after the game at Cardiff when I thought she made some decent saves. Well, she was excellent in this match. I mean, this is her best game as far as I'm concerned in the Wrexham shirt. She really did well, made a couple of super saves, really anticipated things, super quick off the line to make saves at the feet of players. I thought she did it ever so well. And she was calm as well, passing the ball around at the back. Looked like we were looking to do that, almost as if we didn't quite trust her ability to kick long. But when she did kick long, she got good distance. So, yeah, excellent performance by Bolland. Across the back, I mean, again, these duels. Firstly, I've got to say, Ellie Priest on the right-hand side was good enough and quick enough to beat Phoebe Davis. And that's saying something. Davis was the captain in the absence of Karen Allen. And she actually managed to beat her a couple of times. Davis has been outstanding this season. You don't see that very often. But despite that, Davis also had a good scrap with her and won a lot of important tackles with her. Brought the ball forwards well, as she always does. In the right-hand side, of course, Erin Lovett. And a similar story. She was up against two absolute speedsters. And Malenga and Houghton did have more pace and therefore were able to cause her problems. But again, typically, her tackling was good. She was tenacious. In the second half, we really pushed her a lot higher at the pitch, trying to cause problems and overloads on the right-hand side, and she did that really well and did what Davis does when she's on that left flank, coming inside and using the ball intelligently. It was interesting to watch. And another good performance by her. And again, another 90 minutes, 2 in a row now, after a long injury. That's really good news for the last part of the season. In the centre of defence, I thought Katie Sharp put out a lot of fires. A substitution, I think, more tactical than anything else. And Ruby Jones' first start of the season was excellent. Rock solid, strong, so calm on the ball, bringing it forwards. It felt a bit like watching Karen Allen. And of course, she's got that hell of a strike on her and was able to put dangerous long passes into Cardiff Met territory. In the middle of the pitch, Dickens and Lily Jones started off as the double pivot. Dickens, again, made some key interventions, more deep possibly than usual. She had her hands full trying to stop attacks and intercepting in and around the box. Lily Jones, again, was important for Wrexham, trying to make ground and get up the pitch, trying to feed the strikers. Our passing was a little bit off. It was that sort of thing where, the first pass is a little bit off, so you have to stretch to control it. So the next pass is a little bit more off, and just by increments you lose the ball. Lily Jones was more sure-footed than most others and was switching play well. Good long passing too. The second line, well, Lightfoot was electric in the first half. Absolutely tremendous. It was, again, another duel to talk about. Sophie Davidson was more of a defensive right back, and she defended very well. She still got beaten quite a lot by Lightfoot, though Lightfoot was good. But Davidson at least had enough about her to not let Lightfoot completely run riot. But Lightfoot was dangerous. Lovely assist for Rosie Hughes. And a constant threat in the first half. Didn't get as much service in the second half, but came back and made some important challenges on the edge of the area and was still dangerous. On the right, Cara Jones was just typical energy, directness, and came close on a couple of occasions as well. She was unfortunate not to hit the target. Mackenzie, between the two, started very brightly. Some really nice technical moments where she killed the ball dead, and also some nice tackles to win the ball back as well. But I think Wrexham were always likely to bring Brooke Cairns on and give her a bit of a run, and so I think that was a bit of a pre-arranged idea that Mackenzie would start and then Cairns would come on. Rosie Hughes up front, again, a goal, a real threat, and unlucky not to get more than one. She was selfless in the way that she moved, often coming out to the left to try and create spaces inside her, or to create an overload for Lightfoot as well, and took a goal beautifully. As for the subs that came on, like I said, Pritchard did well, stretching the game, got a couple of decent crosses in. Gibbons was a major figure in the centre of the pitch when she came on. I thought she did really well, added that height and decisiveness that allowed us to start winning 50-50s, and was why, a big part, should I say, of why in the last 15 minutes after we went behind, we were on top of the game. And then, of course, Brooke Cairns making her debut. Now, she looks like a nice player. She was keen to sort of knit things together, a bit of a playmaker, smooth on the ball, comfortable on the ball, a lot of nice, accurate passing, really pinpoint passing. The best ball being the one for Cara Jones down the right-hand side. There were occasions when Cardiff Met were able to sort of rough her up a little bit if she dwelled on it a bit too long, but she's coming into the game fresh and a new player for us. So I think that will only develop over time, but she showed a lot of quality out there. That's really encouraging. I'm toiling with player of the match. I'm going to be honest with you. And I've thought about it and changed my mind a few times. Lightfoot was fabulous in the first half, good in the second half. Bolland, I think, showed a huge amount of character and made some key saves, and I really felt impressed by her. Lily Jones got the sponsors man of the match, and I can absolutely see why. She was strong in midfield, and I didn't mention it. Of course, she went back to centre-back, and then she was good. Just strong in the box, as always, using the ball well, starting attacks. So a few contenders, I've missed other people out, I'm quite sure. Ruby Jones was terrific in her first start of the season. And, of course, Rosie Hughes scored and was her usual dangerous self. I think I am going for, as if this matters, why am I fretting over this so much? Lily Jones. It's just all round excellent. Cracking game. Brilliant way to finish off the first phase. Shame that we didn't win, because, as I keep saying, that would have given us the double over all the teams who finished beneath us. And also a shame we didn't win in terms of Swansea for next season, or for the second phase, because, well, our goal is second, and Swansea actually gained 2 more points on, because incredibly they won at Cardiff. Mind you, it does make me ask a slightly odd question. Does that mean there's still a title race on? Cardiff now have got 6 tough games. Could we push ourselves into that? I think winning this game would have made a big difference to my view of that, if I'm perfectly honest. But it's going to be quite an interesting postseason. We've got nothing to lose, in essence. I mean, getting into the postseason is a success on itself. And beyond that, you've got to remember that Aberystwyth are a fair way back. If I've done my maths right, and I've got to be honest, I wish I'd checked this before I say it out loud. If Aberystwyth lose their 2 games against Cardiff, which is obviously very possible, although they did draw with Cardiff at the start of the season, then they can only come level with us if we lose all our games. So, we're very strong in third place. It's a shot to nothing. We're going to go for it. It's exciting. Next game, of course, is the Welsh Cup semi-final, equally exciting, facing TNS at Flint. It'd be brilliant to have a good crowd down there. And then the second phase begins after a little mini break. So let's see what we can do. A brilliant game to finish off the season. And now they can get some good work done on the training ground, assimilate the 3 new signings, and let's see where we can go from here. With a final score of Wrexham 2, Cardiff Met 2, I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.